It's said that in 30 years, white people will no longer make up the majority of the population here in the United States. It's also said that Donald Trump's popularity is driven by whites who fear that happening. White people who fear losing their status and power. Now, let me explain how far off the mark that really is. First off, what makes the United States unique is not the color of anyone's skin. It's the rights we have as Americans. Rights that would make any country, regardless of the skin color of their people, a thriving country. It not only makes our economic superiority possible, it's the reason that billions of people around the world, with skin a lot darker than mine, want to live here. We have the right to freedom of expression and freedom of worship, the right to a prompt and fair trial by a jury of our peers, the right to bear arms, the right to vote for elected officials, the right to be an elected official if we have that ambition, and the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However, those rights come with the responsibility of supporting and defending the Constitution. And that's why so many of us support Donald Trump. It's not because we're worried that one day white people won't make up the majority of Americans. We're worried that one day Democrats will render the Constitution null and void for the supposed good of the collective. They already want to abolish the Electoral College. They want to stifle free speech, severely limit the Second Amendment. And in this pandemic, we've seen Democrat governors banning people's right to worship and to peaceably assemble. Not to mention the push from the left to turn our country into a democracy instead of a constitutional republic. By the way, let's not forget that the people we oppose are also mostly white. You see, if the Constitution is respected and upheld, then our country will do well no matter the color of our people. Those who say Trump's popularity is about white people not wanting to lose their power would definitely say that I'm a part of that group, and yet my wife and daughter are both so-called people of color. And for those of you who think that the only reason our country is better off than the rest of the world is because of slavery, maybe you didn't know this, but there are about 40 million slaves in the world right now. Those places never stopped having slaves after we fought a civil war over it, and they can't hold a candle to the quality of life we have here in the United States. People often talk about generational wealth, that white people have an advantage because of slavery, that white people stole the labor of black people and passed the proceeds on to their heirs. It's true that black slaves had their labor stolen, but to think that the average white person today is where they are in life because of slavery is naive at best and a bald-faced lie at worst. Generational wealth is the passing down of stable financial resources to future generations. So for my life to be better because of slavery that ended in 1865, 110 years before I was born, would mean that wealth created then was passed down to me. It wasn't. But understand this. The experts say that 70% of families will lose the wealth that's passed down to them by the second generation, and 90% of families will lose it by the third generation. That means that 90% of the generational wealth that was created by the use of slave labor in the United States is no longer in those families. And of course, not all wealth created is ever passed on in the first place. So that makes it likely that well over 90% of the wealth created by the atrocity of slavery was lost or vanished back into the economy. If your argument is that the United States as a whole is currently benefiting from it, then that would mean that we're all benefiting from it, not just white people. If you take a look at Americans who are on government assistance, you'll quickly see that there are more white people on welfare than blacks, almost double the number. 43% of welfare recipients are white, 23% are black. If white people today are benefiting from slavery, then why are so many of them on the government dole? What happened to the wealth and power they inherited along with the color of their skin? And are we to believe that blacks who are on welfare wouldn't need it if it had not been for slavery? Or could it be that it has more to do with current geographical, social, political, and cultural factors? For a better understanding of these factors, I suggest you read Thomas Sowell's book, Wealth, Poverty, and Politics. It'll help you understand just how many factors there are that you have little control over, and at the same time, it will empower you because it makes clear that you control the ultimate factor in the success of your life. You control yourself. Look, the idea that a lot of the white working class support Trump because they're afraid to lose their status and power is laughable. We have no power. Our status wins us nothing. We support the president because we're afraid that Democrats will destroy the Constitution in their ideological quest for utopia. It comes down to defending the Constitution against the left. It comes down to believing in what the Constitution says. It comes down to believing in America. And that's the simple truth. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and if you want to become a supporting member of Blue Collar Logic, click on the link in the description and give what you can.